Good on sound. Thank you, Maura. Appreciate that. All right. Well, this is exciting. So we have our first Mindful Monday guest presenter, Ally Karter, who's our sales director in our Augusta, Maine office. And Ally is going to talk about the 4 agreements. I won't get into that. We'll let her get into that. And I think without any further delay, are you ready, Ally?
I'm ready.
Okay. Do I need to make you host, or do you think you're good?
I think I just tried if I could share screen, and I can. So
Okay.
first,
All
I
right.
want to start. Thank you,
Take it
Chris.
away.
I want to start by thanking Chris for inviting me to do this. I hadn't read the 4 agreements in quite a while, and I strongly encourage you to buy the book, which is a little book, looks like this. It's very short. It's also an Audible, and the gentleman's voice is it's a really good recording. So, and it's under 2.5 hours. So that's how I decided to read it this time. And it's a very profound book. So it's very simple, the 4 agreements, but it's very profound. And I really, if you haven't read it, or if you have, I hope this presentation inspires you to read it again. So I'm going to share my screen. Can everybody see it okay?
Looks good.
Okay. So what is an agreement? So an agreement is from our childhood, we learn certain things, how to do things right, wrong, good, bad, and we form agreements. So we have, the good news is we have the opportunity to undo some of our agreements, although certainly not all agreements that we've learned are bad. But that's the concept of agreements, things that we know to be true and agree that it's the way things are. So the 4 agreements are: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. Please stop me along the way if you have questions or want to delve deeper into it. So be impeccable with your word is the first and most important agreement. Words are extremely powerful, and so they have a force behind them. And so it's important that you choose your words wisely. Speak with integrity, say what you mean. I feel like one of the most important things is don't use words against others, because what actually happens is it's reflected back on you. So if you are gossiping or you're speaking ill of somebody else, it actually really comes back to you. I think we all know that when we do things like that, we end up feeling worse about the situation. It's very important to always think of your words as powerful and use them in the direction of truth and love. So don't take anything personally. We are a very egocentric society. We think we're at the middle of everything. And so we take things personally a lot. I love this maximum expression of selfishness. This is directly from the book. We do tend to take things personally. And I meant to say earlier that my mother introduced this book to me at least a decade ago. And I remember she would say to me, don't take things personally, don't take things personally. And I would get so upset with her, like, Mom, it is personal, but it is personal. And when you really think about these words in front of us now, that people are not, they're thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you. They're not, and even if they are, it doesn't matter, because we have our own self-perception. We have our ways that we think about ourselves and can be strong. And once you figure this out, you won't be a victim to other people's words, because they'll bounce off you because they will not be true. So not taking things personally is tough, but over time, when you are impeccable with your word and you follow the 4 agreements, your life becomes much better. The other thing I meant to start with, I apologize, I'm going back in time again. I did speak with my mother about this presentation, and she asked me, what is the most important thing that you have gotten out of the 4 agreements, if you think back about how this has impacted your life? And I thought about it for a while, and it was kind of, took me a while to put it into words, but it really has made me more self-aware. So as you think about your day to day, and you get up in the morning and you decide how you're going to start your day, the 4 agreements really make you aware, and you understand that you have choices every single moment of every day, that you have a choice to decide how you're going to respond to things. So I did mean to start the whole presentation with that, so forgive me. Back to the 4 agreements. So the 3rd agreement is don't make assumptions. So this one is something that we do in our brains all the time. We don't ask for clarification. So our brain starts working on what could that person possibly have meant? And we assume things, we fill in the gap of knowledge instead of asking questions and getting clarification. Again, our brains work a lot. It's always working. And oftentimes it's looking for the worst thing possible that that person could possibly have meant. We've all done that, right? You just assume that they're, that you know what they're saying. The other piece of don't make assumptions is not asking for what you want in a clear way. So you can think that person knows me well enough. They should, shouldn't have to tell them what I want. They should know what I want. That's a big problem in many relationships, that we don't speak clearly and we assume that the other person knows exactly what we want. So we have responsibilities on both sides to be clear and to ask a lot of questions. This is directly from the book as well. And I think I've already fairly much said it all. I like the last part, and I encourage you to have the courage to ask questions. Our company has been going through shared leadership for a couple of years now, and I feel like that's one of the big takeaways, that if we don't understand something as a sales director or a business support specialist, an agent, the home office, that it's our job to reach out and ask a question and not make an assumption. And that's it's a very strong value of our company. The 4th one is always do your best. And this is your best, not perfection. We beat ourselves up an awful lot about when we feel like we might have failed. So forgiving yourself is really important. The always do your best is also taking the 3 first agreements and putting them into action, so that you're actually always doing your best. Like I said, getting up in the morning and deciding how your day's going to go. Avoiding your self-judgment, which we always do, and abuse and regret. My grandmother said this before Maya Angelou. I know she did. So I was brought up with my grandmother saying, if they knew better, they would do better. So she really modeled the 4 agreements, because she assumed that the person didn't know any better, and they would if they could do better. So then Maya Angelou said it, and she said, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Going through this a little quickly. It's a lot of material. Chris, do. So the 4 agreements, again, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. So one thing I wanted to also share is I've created This is on my wall in my office. And Denise Whitney and I did a presentation to the sales directors and we created this PDF. So if you'd like a copy of it, so you can have it near your desk or in your car, just send me an email and I will send that to you. I like to close with this quote: practice the pause. Pause before judging, pause before assuming, pause before accusing, pause whenever you're about to react harshly, and you'll avoid doing and saying things you'll later regret. So that's all I have for today. Any questions?
Ally?
Yes.
Ally? Yeah, I just wanted to add, thank you for doing this. I'm anxious to get the book. The only comment I want to make is, sometimes we do presentations with people that are friends of ours or relatives, and you tend to assume they know stuff since they know you. So last week I had a presentation, they were friends, and I actually told him, I have a presentation, some of the stuff you already know, but I don't want to miss anything. So I just did my thing. So, good program too. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucian. And that's so true. You're talking like a listing presentation? It's very true. Our friends and family, we forget sometimes that we want to make sure we over.
What happens
explain to
down the
them.
road, they'll say, well, you didn't tell me that, but anyway, I thought I'd share that.
Thank you. That's very true. Any other comments, questions?
I do, Ally. First, great job.
Thanks, Denny.
So one of the things that I was thinking about was you used a great example one time about an agent making assumptions when they came into your office and were in a negotiation and she was making up all these stories in her head, right? So I think that that's a good example of something that we do every day when we're making our assumptions, especially when we're in negotiations, right?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of other examples because it does happen every day, and it's to have them in your, it's only 4 statements. So which one applies in the situation, I think is really valuable and simple, like I said, but profound.
Great. Well, excellent job, Ally. Thank you very much. It was a amazing way to start the week. So, and we'll get that PowerPoint available for people too. So,
thank you very much.
all right. Great job. Everybody have a good week.
Thank you.